Hello everyone, today we are going to be looking at the Retron HD by Hyperkin. For those of you who do not know, the original Retron is an NES Clone Console, and was a great option for those who have a few NES games lying around but not an NES, or in some cases, you didn't have a working NES. The Retron HD is pretty much the same thing as the OG Retron, but with some very nice new features. The big one of those new features, if y'all couldn't tell, is that unlike the original Retron, the Retron HD upscales the resolution to a 720p display, and it does a pretty decent job at that. Before we dive more into a discussion on the console's performance, let's start by talking about what you get out of the box. So, you get the system itself, the controller, the micro USB cable and wall adapter, which powers the entire unit, and lastly, an HDMI cable, as well as a composite cable. And I think for many of you this goes without saying, but let me clarify that if you don't have any NES games, then you have no use for this thing, as it does not have any NES games built in, like the elusive NES Classic by Nintendo. So just keep that in mind if you're out of the loop with these kind of things and are just trying to get this for someone as a gift or something. Next up, we'll talk about the presentation. I absolutely love the design of this console. It's very small, lightweight, and very easy to set up. The console comes in two different colors, but I definitely had to go with the classic NES style over the black and red look. On the bottom of the console there is an NTSC/PAL switch, so you can easily play American or European versions of your NES games, which is very nice, but it's a shame that there isn't an additional card slot for Famicom compatibility. The controller that comes with the unit is honestly one of the best NES controllers ever made, thanks to the ergonomic design. Seriously, this thing rivals the beloved NES Dogbone controller. I'm not kidding. Now that all of that is out of the way, it's time to discuss the console's performance. It's absolutely incredible, given that the price for this thing is only $40. It does a decent job displaying the games at 720p, but it's not as clean as Hyperkin's other product, the Retron 5. The biggest problem I've noticed, though, is definitely the inconsistency with the game sound. Some games seem to be fairly accurate, whereas others seem noticeably off. Look, if you're hardcore into playing NES carts that look and sound just like they usually do but on an HD television, you're probably better off modding your original NES to output at 720p. But if you're like me, and just wanting an easy, affordable way to play some NES games that you've accumulated over the years at like garage sales, retro game stores, things like that, then at $40 this is a no-brainer. I don't have an enormous amount of NES games, nowhere near the majority, so I have no real way of testing the percentage of games that are compatible. But every game I've played works wonderfully, with little to no input lag, or none that I can tell anyway. Last quick disclaimer before we wrap this up: if you're interested in playing any of the NES Zapper titles, you're gonna have to plug this thing up to an old school tube TV, with the composite cables they give you, as the light guns will not work on a modern HD TV, even with the Retron HD. All in all, guys and girls, I'm very happy with my purchase, and if you're at all interested in picking up this console and you've got some NES carts laying around that you're itching to play, absolutely go for it. After all, it's only $40. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful for some of you. But most importantly, go play some hard games.